Hi, good morning. My name is Tom, and this is my 1953 Mercury V8 flathead. Last year, the V8 flatheads, and I'm so proud of it. Well, it's just a Mercury. They had Montclairs and I think another model. Monterey, yeah. But this must have been the lowest of the line, and it's just a Mercury. There's there's nothing else about it. Just that's the only names on the car is Mercury. So I believe it's the lowest of the line in 1953. You know, I'm in my late 70s, so I've been in the cars since I could drive. And I was driving classic cars then, but they weren't classic cars. But I've always stayed in the classic car world all these years. And over the years, I don't even know the number. I've had 100 classic cars during my life, you know, starting from the 60s, and quite a bit in the last 20 years. I became a little more affluent, and I could buy, sell, trade, and stuff. So gone through a number of cars, but I always prefer cars of this nature, not Ford or Mercury or brand name, but survivor cars, and that's what this is. It's a survivor. And I have another one in the garage that's a survivor. And my last 3 or 4 cars have always been survivor cars, generally under 100,000 original miles, generally 1 or 2 owners. And that's the place I like to stay, in that arena. And you got to look, you got to search, but they're still out there. I just happened to be scrolling on the internet, and I seen it, and it jumped out at me. Never owned a Mercury before, hardly ever owned Fords. Always been a GM guy most of my life. But this one just jumped out at me. I seen the pictures of it. I got a hold of the guy, and he was older than me, and he had it for quite a while. The only reason he was selling it was because in his advanced age, it was just too difficult for him to drive. It's a 6-shift, and it's no power steering. So it can be a little difficult to drive. And he just got to the point where he couldn't drive it anymore. So I contacted him. It was through email. It was one of those Craigslist things where they don't put their phone number. You can only contact them by email. And usually that's takes a while. I sent him an email. Within 10 minutes, he called me. I was like, wow, this guy's real. We talked for a long time. It took me a month of talking with this guy, not to negotiate the price, because he was not negotiable, but just to convince him that I was the right guy, because he didn't want to sell to anybody, you know. And he goes, well, you got to come over and look at it. And it was in Folsom, California, up near Sacramento. And slowly I convinced him that I'm the right guy to buy the car. I want the car. And the other thing that was really good about it was, you buy a car sight unseen. And by the way, this is the first car in my life that I've ever bought sight unseen. I've always went and looked at a car. I've gone to Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California. This car I actually bought sight unseen. And he told me about the car, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when I got the car, he represented it 100% exactly the way the car was. I was so impressed. And it was scary because, you know, I sent him the money, and is this guy real? Turned out he was real and right as rain, and everything about the car was exactly the way he described it. So I was very impressed with him and very impressed with the car. And he gave me the history on the car, that he knew it. He knew it pretty well because the car was purchased new at Berkeley Lincoln Mercury in Berkeley, California. The guy owned it for John, what the heck was John's last name? John Sweeney. I bought the car from. John said he bought it from the original owner that had it for 10 or 15 years. He was getting old and he couldn't remember. But so John then owned it all those years up until when I bought it. And it went from Berkeley to the Sacramento area. And it stayed in Sacramento its entire life until it came here. So it's 99.9% rust-free. There's no cancer anywhere. There's a couple little bubbles here and there, but they're so slight that I'm not even worried about it.
And it is original paint. We need to make sure people know that.
Yeah, Nick, my friend, who's a body guy, went over it. He said, I think it's been touched up in some places, but basically it's original paint car.
Wow.
Because he found a place where there was maybe some damage, and they fixed it, and they repainted a section. But other than that, it's an original car. It's got the original flathead V8 in it, the Mercury V8, which I kid people, I call the Mercury the big block. Because the Fords are 239, the Mercuries are 255. So they're the big boy motors, right? 10 more horsepower than a Ford. It runs like a Swiss watch. It starts... It starts right up. It's smooth at an idle. It doesn't stall. It doesn't hiccup. It just runs like a car is supposed to run, and it's all original. That's what I like about the car. It's all original. It's a fun car to drive. It's a stick shift, which I kind of like. Most cars are automatic, but it's kind of fun to get back and drive a stick shift again. Mm-hmm. And this has got the 3-speed with the overdrive, so it'll cruise at 70 miles an hour on the freeway. I don't like to run it at high speeds, but it will do it, and it's breathing fine. So like I said, I wasn't looking for this car. This car found me. This car grows on me. I like it more as time goes by. And there's a thing I've seen on a show one time. They say, you know what when the time to sell your classic car is? When you go someplace and you park and get out of your car and you walk away, if you don't turn around back and look at and stare at your car, it's time to get rid of it. And I do that every single time I drive this baby. I go to the park, I park it, I walk about 50 feet, and I turn around and just stare at it. And that reinforces my love for this car. Oh. It's nothing special. You know, it's a stick shift without power steering, without power brakes. It's hardcore drum brakes, hardcore steering, but it's just a blast to drive. And people, a lot of people, younger people especially, come up, what is it? It's not a recognizable car, but older people know right away what it is. They just don't know the year. And the year is 53, which is unique in a couple of ways. It's the last year that they used kingpin front suspension. After that, they went to a ball joint, and it's the last year of the flathead V8, which to me is really cool. This is the last ones that rolled off the assembly lines with a flathead V8 in them, which I think is kind of interesting. So that's kind of the history that I know of the car. So John had her all these years. He put the DeSoto cap, those are 57 DeSoto caps according to him. And he told me, those are kind of sought after in the hot rod world. People like them. I didn't know that. I like them. I think they look pretty cool. And he put the wide whites on it. Yeah, and thank you guys for allowing me to present the car. It's just a cool car.
Hello to all of our YouTube subscribers and viewers. Today we're bringing you another car from Tom Quercia's collection. You may remember a few weeks ago we featured Tom's all-original 53 Mercury Custom. That video was a big hit because everybody loves original cars, even if they're not perfect. And because this Mercury Custom is over 70 years old, it makes seeing it even more interesting. When we spent some time with Tom shooting his Mercury feature, we also spotted another low-mile, all-original gem sitting next to the Merc, a 66 Chevy Impala Super Sport hardtop. And you're going to love this one. Please be sure to like this video and share it with other car people because they'll love it too. It's a testament to how garage storage, routine maintenance, and keeping the vehicle clean can preserve it even though it's nearly 60 years old. We know you'll enjoy this week's feature. Now, let's go for a ride.
Hi, my name is Tom, and this is my 1966 Impala Super Sport. I've only owned it for roughly 2 years. There's a funny story with it. I had been searching for a 66 Impala for 2-3 years, a Super Sport. And friends of mine would find them on Facebook and Craigslist and this and that. But I was very particular about the color. And I always seemed to find white ones with red interior, and nah, that's not going to work for me. I don't like white cars, and I don't like anything. I can't get anywhere within a mile of anything that's red. So I always would turn them down. I always wanted that kind of silver blue one, and I kind of liked that. There was a green, I don't know what the proper name was. It was this kind of tinted down green one, somewhat semi-metallic, and I liked that, and I couldn't find one. And then a couple of years ago, my friend Nick says, I found a car for you, and it's local, because every car I've bought in the last 20 years, I've always bought them out of state. I buy them in Montana, Idaho, Washington State, Oregon, California, and I always travel to go get them. And this one was local. I was like, wow. He sent me a picture of it, and right away I didn't like it. I said, I like the black, but I don't like the white interior. And he goes, why? I said, it's a real nice contrast. And he goes, let's go look at it. We went over and looked at it. The guy opened the garage door. I walked in the garage and I looked at it, and I instantly fell in love with it. I go, you were right. The white and the black go very well together, and the rest was history. Made a deal with the guy. I mean, it took an hour of haggling, but we settled on a price, which I thought was very reasonable. I bought the car, and I never looked back. And it's been a great running car. I did have a hiccup at first. The power brake booster was bad, and I thought, well, 66, 65 Impalas, they made millions of them. No problem finding a power brake booster. Wrong. We searched for a month. Nowhere in North America could we find a remanufactured one or a new one. We couldn't find one, and we were all shocked in the car clubs, car people that I'm involved with. We said, how can that be? They made so many of these cars. Nowhere could we find one. And I don't know if it's a supply chain issue during that period or what it was. So finally, a friend of mine found one out at Speedway Auto out in Tolleson. And I took the measurements where it mounts to I looked at the pictures, it looked like the right one. I took the measurements, and we measured it was 3.5 across and 3.5 down. I go, and I called them, and they go, that's what it is. So I went out there, I took a tape measure with me, and measured them, bought it, reasonable price. It was like $130 or something. Brought it home, and it wouldn't mount. Turned out that the two top ones were 3.5, from top to bottom was 3.5, but the bottom spread was wider on the one, and it wouldn't go on. So then we went to Arizona Brake and Clutch because they rebuild stuff like that down there on, off McDowell and I-17. And I said, can you rebuild this? And we go, well, we don't know. We have to talk to the tech out back. We don't know if we have parts for it. And I go, well, can you tell me? And they go, well, leave it here and we'll call you. And I go, okay, how much will it cost? They couldn't give me a price. I said, how long will it take? They couldn't tell me. So I said, all right. So I left it there, went back about 3 days later, and he goes, okay, we can do it. And it's like $160. And I said, do it. So 2 days later, they called me and they had rebuilt mine. And I was like, finally. Because I went through this for weeks. I could drive the car with the old one, but it was super stiff pedal. And then once we took it off, couldn't drive the car. Finally, we got it on and it worked. And I was like, everything's right with the world now. I have power brakes and it works right. Other than that, that's the only mechanical thing I've had to do to the car. I don't really have a good background history of the car. I bought it from a guy in Chandler. He only had it for a couple of years. And he said that he bought it from a friend of his that had 3 of them in Nebraska. He said that his friend told him this car came from California, which I don't know whether I believe it or not. But I've had my body guy go over the car, and he said it's a rust-free car. So I said, okay, it's good enough for me. So as far as I know, I bought it from a guy that got it from Nebraska, and he said that guy got it from California. But I don't know. And then there was another thing about the car, which is very suspect. When I looked at the car on the odometer, it said 9,000 something miles. And I go, well, that's not original. And he goes, no, he said, it's an original 9,000 mile car. And I'm like, not possible, not possible. And he swore that it was, but I never for a minute believed him. And I showed it to a lot of different people, and a few people go, no, it could be. And now it's got 12,000 on the odometer. I put 3,000 miles on it since I've owned it. And some people have looked at it and said, no, it could be a 12,000 mile car. And I go, no. So in my view, it's a 112,000 mile car, which is still acceptable. And it's a solid car. The front end's tight, no wandering, no ball joint problems, and which these things were notorious for wearing out ball joints. So I'm like, okay, I accept it as a 112,000 mile car. Happy with it. It's turnkey. It runs great. It looks good. It's a 10-footer. If you get real close, you can find blemishes in the paint and some lacquer checking, but it's a 10-footer, and from 10 foot on, it's beautiful. So that's all I care about. And the interior, again, supposed to be original, and we've gone over it with some people I know, some very people that really know what they're doing, and they believe that it's 100% original interior. It's in super good condition, but if you look close, it's got some cracks and some flaws in it. So I do believe that the interior is original. We think that the carpet has probably been replaced, but the seats and the door panels, we totally believe they're 100% original. So I'm happy with that. There's no reason to doubt that. And I'm a stickler for originality. I like original cars. I don't like cars that have been completely restored. They're nice. I'm not knocking them, but it's not my taste. I like original survivor cars. And this, to me, is 90% original. And it fills that void, that position that I like about a car. That they're original motor, original transmission, original everything. And these are driver cars. This is not a show car. I drive this car almost every day. And it's turnkey, hit the key, it fires up, I drive it around, the brakes work good. It had a funky set of wheels on it when I bought it, and I didn't like them. They were like 72, 73 Camaro rallies, and they looked ugly on this car. I put a set of American torque thrusts on it, because that's what we used to do back in the day. And I put them on, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked. So we started searching around. I found a set of original Super Sport caps, bought a set of nice white walls for it, and put those on, and I went, that's what this car is supposed to look like. Because the car is original, it needs original wheels. So that's kind of the story of how I got it, where I got it, and it's one of those kind of cars that kind of grows on you as you drive it. It's a pleasure to drive. We've gone over this thing really had Nick go over it, and I'm convinced that this is original interior.
Oh yeah.
He said, we believe the carpet has been replaced, but the seats and the headliner of the door panels are all
you can see the wear right here.
You can see a little bit of wear here and there, a crack here, and a slight
it looks
discoloration.
original. It sure does.
But other than that, it's very original.
Yeah.
And I love
original cars.
And this car has a working clock.
That's unbelievable.
Has a working AM/FM factory radio.
That's amazing.
I've never bought an old car that had a working radio. Maybe once, but I've never bought a car with a working clock. It's a little. So, there we go. Yeah, it's just a nice, good driving, pleasurable, easy car to drive. You know, power steering, power brakes, no air, but I don't care. It's just a good solid survivor car.
Car sounds good.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's got that nice mellow small block Chevy tone to it. Yeah, it's just an easy car to drive. It's dependable. Sometimes, every once in a while, which probably with most carburetor cars, the carburetor will act up a little bit. You know, it'll kind of seem like it's flooding a little bit.
I think that's today's fuel more than anything.
Yeah, it might be. And so sometimes I start it up in the morning and it sits there and blubbers, and I can tell that it's just not right. And I just put it in neutral and hold the RPMs up a little till it kind of cleans out, and that's fine. And it's like after that, like right now, it's as smooth as silk, you know. The only thing I don't like about a lot of these 60s cars, no gauges. I'm a gauge guy. I like to know what the oil pressure is. I like to know what the engine temperature is. I like to know that it's charging. You know, they got idiot lights, and you suppose that they're working, but you don't know. And I haven't had any issues with it, so I'm okay. The car's okay.
Well, it sure is a beautiful car, and thanks for sharing it with us and our viewers today. They're going to enjoy it very much.
I'm really glad you guys came over to take a look at it, yeah.
Well, how did you guys like this beauty? Rarely do we find an all-original car this nice, with an owner who's willing to show it to us and fill us in on all the details of the story. So, our thanks again to Tom Quercia for taking the time to do just that. Leave a comment on what you think of this beautiful super sport, or any other memories you have of a similar car. As always, we really appreciate you watching our video. We have many more that you can find by clicking on the channel name.